All right, hey guys, Minnesota here. This is my tank guide for Prot Paladin 21 HOV. Here's my talents I ran. The only one I make sure to really get is strength and adversity for the extra parry, just because you can parry the debuffs from the trash mobs. It helps a lot. I also make sure I take Sentinel, and just basically this is the easy talents, right? This guide is very simple. This guide is for tanks that are doing 10s to 22s. We'll do this route, and in this video I'll kind of give you a play-by-play on what I'm thinking, when I'm doing it, and why I'm doing it, and hopefully it helps you. But here you go. And if you do want some help, if you have ults, if you have anything, I do viewer keys, carries every single day. You can come in, we'll bring you in, we'll help you get your key done. Won't say anything, we'll help you, teach you little pointers. Or if you just want a group to help get your key done, we do a lot of keys that aren't carries. They're just people that are sick of trying to find pugs and want to play with a group of people that, even if the key goes bad, don't give up. But here we go, we'll get right into the guide. All right, so if you guys want to know any of the add-ons I'm using or the weak cores I'm using, just come to the stream. I'll gladly give them to you, tell you what they are. I made the middle one from an old weak core that I had during Shadowlands, and then I combined it to what I needed, and it works good. For my Dusk and Dawn buffs, they'll be above my Avenger's Shield in the middle, and my Judgment next to Sentinel on the left. The left one is for the damage, and the one above the shield is for my damage reduction one, which you can see I did it before the key started. I have damage reduction going into this 3 pull. I always pull this all 3, depending on the week, but most of the time it's always all 3. I make sure that we interrupt the 2 casters. I make sure my shield of righteous is always up, and my consecrate's always down. A must every time. And also above my consecrate, you'll see the shield I get, the extra block, and when I throw my shield of Avenger's Shield out. So I'm trying to keep that up, my consecrate and my shield of righteous up all the time. And you'll see above my shield the word of glory. When it highlights, that's when it's a free wog, and I'll typically sit on that until I'm low. Like right now it's lit up, I'm not in any harm, but when I get low, I'm gonna pop it, because the more damage I'm missing, more health I'm missing, the bigger that heal that's gonna be. So this pull for a long time would mess me up. Don't be scared to use cooldowns. I use eye, as you can see, I use eye for the damage reduction on all the mobs around me, which is huge. I'm actually really bad at not using that enough, but I also use Ardent Defender there. Don't be scared to use your cooldowns, especially like this week coming up with Fortified. Trash hurts, so make sure you're always using those cooldowns. You're wasting them. But here, I always look for where the ad is coming. So it's coming in the front right here. So everyone's coming in the front, and I always go to where it comes from. So it came from the front, it went by, I go in, and we're safe for a while, right? Sometimes I'll move it back to the middle if I'm feeling frothy. But typically I just plant, make sure my range is staying at max range. Baiting the spears just makes life easier for everybody. As you can see, my weak core has a timeline on the top right, that's showing all the abilities. Whenever there's a tank smash coming, or like the horn, I know I gotta have a big cooldown up, Ardent Defender, or call for one. I know when the ads are always going to be coming because of that countdown. But see, it goes by, and I just go right back to where it was. All right. we're gonna fast forward to the rest of this boss because there's really not much to go on. All right, so coming up to here, I double pull this square. I always tell one of my melee or whoever, you're kicking square, that's yours always, and I will get triangle. We're mainly worried about the big burst AoE damage heal that these mobs do. Healing circle on the ground, we can easily just move them. But these guys, you know, a couple of these mobs will do a frontal. So I always try to just make sure that they're not facing team. I always run through, so the range and DPS don't have to. Just makes it easier. As long as you kick these and you kite them and you got your consecrate down, the biggest thing is your consecrate. Just make sure your consecrate's down and you're just stutter stepping. The second you leave that consecrate, you're just gonna get deleted. And I always make sure both my dusks are running, you know, the Blessing of Dawn and Dusk. I always make sure I have Dusk up no matter what. I have Dusk up above my Venture Shield right there. It's blue. The damage reduction is just so massive. But after that pull, I double pull this as well. This one can be a little tricky. I try to get it only the left side when there's only two. Sometimes there's a third mob there that pats. But I get all three of these. I make sure that I'm, you know, I always make sure that someone is going to kick a certain mark, right? And you typically, that's the mark they're going to have the whole time. It just makes it easier. But for this one, again, keep it tight, clumped up, not facing the raid. So Holy Radiance, that's the one we're really looking for here in this pack with these mobs. As long as Holy Radiance is kicked, this pull is not bad at all. Again, Consecrate, Shield the Righteous up. I'm sitting on the Word of Glory because as Tyrannical, this trash doesn't really do too much. But see how my health was halfway? Log when it's that low, huge. Don't be afraid to use Sentinel on cooldown. I use it constantly. But we're gonna skip these mobs here. The pat, just hug the wall. I grab the pat here this week and I pull in to the next room with the 2 ads. So this pool right here can sometimes do some pretty good damage. The only thing we got to really do here is interrupt triangle. So triangle, and I'll stun. So the thing with these mobs that put the shield buster on you is you can hammer them, you can war stomp them. Warlocks can shadow fury. They can be stunned, and if they're stunned, as you can see on me right now, I have a couple stacks of the tank buster, right? So I'm taking some increased damage. But if you time it right, you can stun it and you won't get those stacks, or you can even parry it with the extra parry we have from talents. But this week, Tyrannical weeks, this pull, we're pretty good on being able to just tank and spank this. You could kite it if you needed to, but that's not too bad. Here, I pull this down. I always save my shield for that top guy so I can interrupt him. I don't pull into the next pack until I have Divine Toll, right? So I don't want to go into a pack and have my DPS get threat on everything because Divine Toll is down and I can't interrupt everything. So once it goes, I can make sure I got everything. Again, I'm going to face everything away from the group. And Divine Toll is out. And now I'm just watching the beam from the mob. And I keep them clumped here. And just use cooldowns when I have to, right? I use Kings there. I've used, I'm going to use Ardent Defender here whenever I have a bunch of stacks of the Tank Buster. Or if things get dicey. If things get dicey, I will just start kiting, right? I'll call for a stun, I'll call for an Ursel, and I'll backpedal. You know, because Ursel is a nice tool if you have a Wrestler Druid, because you can just backpedal and just let them snap back, and then you got some room, and that debuff can fall off. But you just got to know basically all the utility of your whole group, which with this add-on Omni CC, you can see I can see all their cooldowns. So I can ask for an Ursol, I can ask for leg sweep, I can ask for whatever. Another thing is too on trash and stuff like that. Don't be afraid to use bubble taunt. Just use it, because if you just sit on it, there's times where a lot of this you're not even gonna use it, and if you used it, that's a lot of damage that your healer doesn't have to heal. Can help damage all around. It's a really good talent. I love that talent. You're gonna take it, you might as well use it. So for this pull here, I pull the left guy, right? And I want to pull the right guy, but you want to pull it after the dome is already out, because then they're offset. And dome's out. Now right before the cast, I judge that mob, bring them in. So now we're getting maximum uptime on both of them. And for the higher keys, you have to pull like this. Then I pull them away from the orb guy. We lost our monk. It's all right though. It happens. I probably should have battle resed them, but we're saving it for in case a boss happens. But everyone should stay on the guy that spawns the shield. Get rid of that, and then you're just on the boss basically. So for this next boss, as a paladin, I have messed this up more times than I like to admit, but mainly most of it has come down to I forget to consecrate, plant, consecrate, and have my shield of righteous. Normally I'm trying to dodge and I move and I forget consecrate's not down, so I'm not getting extra damage reduction from that, and I forget to use a cooldown. So I try to always like go into it the same every single time, and use my cooldowns almost the same. Like once I do a run once, I typically do it the same every single time, because luckily paladins, we just have so many. So for this one, I know there's a cheese where you can do like half and half and not have them as strong. For me, I do the left side once, then I go to the other side twice typically, or I go 1 1 1 1. But I pull it right back to here, sentinel everything, send it. Biggest thing is just making sure that you use defensives for the knock when you get pushed over. If you don't have one, especially in the higher keys, you're just gonna fall over. But right after that goes, I just run. I don't wait. I take the knock here. I know people but it gives me time to get my concert down and have my shield of righteous, and to make sure that I have my my blessing of dusk up for the damage reduction. There's times where I will stay, but it's not very often. Normally I'm getting it and I'm going. But since we're gonna do 2 here, I'm already in my spot. I've already talked. The healer already knows that I'm gonna want Iron Bark, which I call for. I got my shield up. I was able to live that one with Eye of Tear and Iron Bark, no problem. So I try to bring it back here, because then it doesn't take forever to get to the next once we go to the next side again. This comes out here. I don't normally, I get a little closer so I can melee it better, but this was our 3rd halls and I was not playing the best. But here I got kings up, so I'm not too worried about consecrate, but I still managed to get it down, which is, I probably put kings out because I was nervous. But kings is down. Ardent Defender is going to be up for the next one. I'll have bubble taunt too as well, but sometimes bubble taunt on this one just gets really messed up. As you can see too right there, I'll throw out some wogs to the team. They're not very good right now because I'm not running that spec, but I'll put sack out. Don't be afraid to use your sack. Get over there, use my trinket. I'm out of concentrate. Watch. Oh no, I dropped it again. Good. But my shield of righteous wasn't up. I just noticed that. That was risky, but that will happen. But I always try to make sure I got my consecrate, and I always try to go in with a free wog, or at least enough to wog myself, so right after that hit I instantly wog and I'm gonna heal for a ton. That's my main goal. But we're gonna fast forward into our next pool. So again, we're going to the other side now. We're skipping that Pat. We don't want him. I make sure that we interrupt triangle. Can't remember the guy's name, but there's a bow and arrow guy. Precision shot. You'll hear it. At least I hear it with my add-ons and weak cores. Precision shot. I typically save my hammer for that. I stun it. You can blinding light it. You can do whatever you want, or you can just dodge it. This pull is pretty easy. The next area is where I do things a little differently, because with this route it's basically 100%. So when we go in here, I always make sure don't let anyone hit the dragon. Let the dragon hit, because if you don't see these deer, see those two deer right in front of me right now over the dragon, if these deer don't run away, this won't work. So he comes down and now you see those deer in the back run. That is how you'll know this will work. So there's 5 deer right here. They all count for 1%. There's 2 up here on the hill that I'm gonna go get here. 4 to 5 weeks. I'll wait until the dragon's a little bit lower before I grab them, but there's 1, there's 2. As you see, when they walk up next to the dragon's gonna turn around and eat them. That's gonna give me 1% for each one. I come over here, I grab all 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. I bring them back. It will stun. It's not too bad, but now the dragon's gonna eat them. They're all dead, and we get 5% for that. 5 count. I was gonna pull some bulls with this, but then I changed my mind, so that's why I turned around. But we're gonna get to the cave part. I'm pretty sure everyone knows this next part. Before he goes to the cave, you just tank him right where he is, run out. Good stuff. All right, so for here, I keyhole. If you go to the left over that stump and then to the right, you don't have to do any of these wolves. And I fight it right in front of the cave, and whoever gets picked with the scent on the first one, I'm gonna bop. Again, here, the biggest thing I can't stress enough is your consecrate. Consecrate always needs to be down. Cheer the Righteous needs to be down. Luckily, Paladins have battle res. For this, I spread out, and wherever I see everyone else go, I'll just sit in the middle, because I don't want to get the bleed and give them space. But since I know one timers are going to happen, I can position everything. So here, I'm just going to bop the scent of blood. I don't have to move. And as you can see, we had these 2 wolves that got body pulled. They're not part of my route normally, but if they do, sometimes it will wipe you if you grab them. But we were able to kill them, luckily, and not die. That's why I had a better res healer. That's right. So here, we got to spread for the jump. I look for where everyone's going, and I just go to the clear spot where I don't have to worry about anybody. Scent of blood's coming, so I'm gonna move back a little bit. You see the timer is a little off right here, but scent of blood's coming, so they run into the cave. Waking's coming. I give everyone else the space, and I just bring it back. That's the fight once you're out of bop. Once scent of blood's coming, you just pull it back a little bit. He runs into the cave. You're good. Tank damage is not real big here. I try to make sure that I save my bubble if I can for the next pull, and my kings if I can. There's really not too much tank stuff going on right now, and the next trash pull is not the funnest. So we're gonna skip to that. All right, for this trash pull, I pull all the bears. if I did it right and I saved all my cooldowns for this, I'll sit there and tank him for a little bit, which I did. So I get my consecrate down, using kings. I'm sitting on my free wog. My wog's procced. I use it. I use the Eye of Tear for the damage reduction, and I follow it with a bubble taunt. After the cooldowns are wearing off, I just kind of funnel them, and I ask for right there, as you can see, I ask for a ring, back into the ring. I don't get hit, and then I'm going to ask for a stun, and that's typically when I get out. And now I just run in a circle, and normally I don't run into that tree, but if you do, keep on going. But you're just going to run. They're going to slow you a little bit. You're just trying to keep them in the AoE as much as possible, make it easier. Once I get some cooldowns up and I see things are dead, I'll get back in like 3. I'm not too worried about. Now for the next part here, always hug the right in between the tree and the wall. Some people will go on the other side, and they'll pull the other mobs, and you don't want that. Here we're gonna pull 5 bulls. There's 3 here and the other 2. And here I try to circle stuns, because you can stun the AoE for your melee. So like right here, I stun it, they don't have to move. You try to just cycle through stuns if you can. It's not a very hard pull. Not much tank damage. It's just more of annoying, right? 'Cause of the stomps on the ground. So we'll go to the next pull. So for here, depending on where the pad is where I will decide if I want to pull it back to right here or if I'm going to keep it there. So the pad's leaving, so it's a good spot. I'm just going to pull it to this corner, LOS here, have them come all the way back to me just to keep them grouped up. Make sure I'm interrupting the mob. As you see with my plitter, the interrupt mob is always a different color. But we got stunned here. We didn't clear on thundering. I know everyone loves that, right? Beauty about Paladin is typically we can live that with bubble taunt and then sack the other person that's stunned and then lay on hands the other person. That's normally how I save it. But we see we got the guy shooting in the background. Our monk paralyzed it. Great. Again, as you can see, I just used a shocking potion. Those are big. Shocking potions on trash pulls is going to make your damage just go up and up and up. But they get expensive, but they're definitely useful. But for here, you want to make sure you have an invis pot. If you don't have a rogue, I'm going to make sure everything's dead. I'm going to grab a beer off the table because I got it. Now we're going to invis by. This is going to make it so we can grab all the other trash. I don't remember what happened here. What's taking so long? Oh, I forgot I used my pot like a dummy because I used the shocking pot there. That's right. So I had to die. So we die here. I have someone else grab a beer, which is fine. We're gonna get rezzed, and normally you just invis right here. Like you see the druid right there, he just invis by. That's what we do too. So he has the beer. We run by here. Thing is, the person with the beer wants to throw it at the second one on the left. If you have all the beers, everyone can throw a beer at every mob and you can pull them all at once. I don't do that right now. I like to play it safe, but I always try to do 2 at a time. So I'm coming up here. I told him throw the beer at the second one on the left. I'm going to start the one on the far left. And what you do is he throws the beer, you trigger the first guy, and you bring the first guy to the second guy so he can fight. So they fight, and then you can talk to him after they fight. So here you want to make sure whoever you tell to kick this one, they're gonna get this mob the whole time until it dies. Savvy's on that one. These guys are about to fight or be done fighting. He's done fighting. Now I can talk to him, and he comes out. And now I'll start going to the next group. And whoever's interrupting Moon is going to be interrupting Moon the whole time. I grab the next guy and so forth. These guys do have a nasty tank buster that can get pretty gross. As you can see, especially if they're not dying fast, I'll just bubble taunt them off just to get rid of the stacks. Again, don't be afraid to bubble taunt. Bubble taunt is your friend. It does get annoying. Like I'm getting better now to let my monk friend know, hey, I'm bubble taunting, back up. Or sometimes people just die and it's actually tilting. I get it, but it saves a lot. If you're taking the talent, use it. So hit the next ad. We'll go ahead and just skip to the boss. All right, for this one, the only thing I can tell you that I do, I don't know if everyone does it, is for the AoE, I let one tick go off and then I call the shield in, which then sometimes if he goes into a tank buster, at the end of that cast, the shield's still up and it does no damage to me. So again, make sure concentrate's down, make sure we got our blessings going, our Shield of Righteous is up, and see the AoE went off, and then I used the shield. Now the AoE is gonna be done and I'll still have the shield. So if that was a tank right there, the tank buster, I would have been fine. It would have done nothing. But for this fight, that's basically it, right? This fight's not very hard. As a tank, after this, he throws the shield and we go get the shield, rinse, repeat. It's the whole fight. It's a pretty chill fight. Just I always make sure that I let one tick go off and then I call the shield in. The only thing I can tell you for sure though is if you're going to kill this boss and he's in the AoE phase, sorry, and he dies while it's going, the shield will disappear and your whole group will wipe. So if you're at like 2% and he's AoEing, everyone just stop damage. Go for stop. Because if you kill it while it's AoEing, you will all die. But let's go to the next boss. All right, for this fight, I typically every single time will give the weak aura out to everyone in the group, because I think for the ruins, the weak aura, no matter who you are, I think can process where you need to go faster than your brain. People argue it, like my buddy Jang Druid here, but he dies a lot to the ruins. Shout out to Jang Druid. But you'll see it pop up in this fight. So here I always tank here because for my weak aura, I always want to have myself set in the spot where I don't have to think. But concentrate's down, we throw everything out. Typically your range is kind of baiting. Nice bait back there. I don't move too far because I want to go to the edge of the ruin. So there's the ad behind me. You see it? I get sucked in, seed in, taunt it, bring it to the edge. And I stay over here because I want to be facing the throne when this weak aura is going to come up in the middle of my screen. You're going to see it when marks come out. Marks in 5, you're going to see it and it's going to light up and tell me where I need to go. So I just tank like this. See it's light up yellow. It tells me right where to go. Go to yellow, boom, done. And then you lost. That's the beauty about that weak aura that I love. Again, if you want that weak aura, come to the stream, ask me, hey, what's that HOV ruin weak aura? And I'll give it to you happily. But here, we're kind of sloppy with these baits. Not a problem. I'm just always going to position myself where I can be for the right the marks and for pull-ins, right? So the pull-ins, I know I want to get towards the door, so I move them. There's the ad. I actually bought on this because I don't know what happened, but my brain like derped. I remember about my steeds. So the ad. You can kind of see that I'm kind of like moving a little bit because of all the orbs, but I'm turned around, and that's why I got hit by a great stun. And now I just pop a defensive, and I get to where I need to go. I almost died, got lucky. But that's HOV. Again, if you have any questions or if you want help with keys, even if you have alts and you want to get your alts done with keys, we do keys every single day. You don't have to sub, you don't have to pay gold, you don't have to do anything. You being there and hanging out is awesome. And if you have any questions, let me know. My next video will probably be a temple, 21 temple. I play all the tanks, and hope to see you again.